Phase 1. The Plan. You are standing under the harsh, flickering fluorescent lights of a massive warehouse. The air smells of heavy diesel fuel, burning ozone from a welding torch, and cold sweat. You are looking at a fleet of 10 heavy-duty commercial trucks. They look completely ordinary. That is exactly the point. In 1 week, these 10 vehicles are scheduled to cross the northern border carrying over $400 million in illicit cargo. It is the most ambitious, heavily financed smuggling operation in the history of the cartel. And you are the chief architect. You are a master mechanic. You didn't start out in the criminal underworld. You started in a legitimate auto shop on Juarez Avenue, fixing alternators and changing oil for regular customers. But they found you. They recruited you with stacks of 500 peso notes that they didn't even bother to count before handing over. They recruited you because you are fast, you are quiet, and you are a genius with heavy machinery. Now, you supervise a specialized team inside a clandestine compound. High concrete walls, cameras on every corner, guards patrolling the perimeter with AR-15s slung over their shoulders like backpacks. You are no longer just fixing engines. You are designing invisible fortresses. The boss, a young, educated man with cold eyes, walks into the bay. He looks at the blueprints on your table. He looks at the fleet. "Is it ready?" he asks. You nod. You know the stakes. You know that if this operation succeeds, you will be paid $150,000 in cash. You also know that in exactly 72 hours, this magnificent feat of criminal engineering will be completely destroyed by a single 10-cent copper wire. Phase 2. The Setup. The level of technical perfection required to bypass the border is staggering. You and your crew work through the night. You strip the trucks down to the bare chassis. You do not just build hidden compartments. You alter the fundamental physics of the vehicles. You modify the heavy suspensions so they can support 2 extra tons of pure product without the chassis riding suspiciously low to the ground. You build secondary floorboards lined with lead to defeat the X-ray scanners at the commercial checkpoints. You remove every trace of the factory GPS, ensuring there is no digital footprint. You fabricate hydraulic compartments inside the heavy steel fuel tanks. One half holds real diesel, the other half holds the cargo, completely sealed to defeat the K9 units. Your team is elite. You have a master welder, you have a communications expert, and you have an electrician. The electrician is the one responsible for wiring the complex electronic locks that keep the hydraulic compartment sealed. If those locks lose power, they are designed to fail safe into a locked position. But the electrician has been working 20-hour shifts. He is exhausted. He is taking melatonin to force himself to sleep and antidepressants to deal with the crushing anxiety of working for a cartel. His hands shake. He runs a secondary wiring harness too close to the exhaust manifold of truck number 4. The insulation on the wire is thick, but it is not completely heat-proof. It is a tiny oversight, a microscopic lapse in judgment. In a legitimate auto shop, a blown fuse is an inconvenience. In this shop, excellence is not optional. It is survival. But you are the supervisor. You sign off on the work. You tell the boss the fleet is flawless. Phase 3. The Execution. It is Tuesday morning. The operation begins. The 10 trucks roll out of the clandestine compound, joining the heavy flow of commercial traffic heading north. You are sitting in the warehouse, monitoring a secure radio feed. You have a secondary satellite phone sitting on the desk, the one that only rings for absolute emergencies. You watch the GPS trackers you custom-built for the cartel. The green dots move steadily along the highway map. The first 2 trucks hit the border checkpoint. Your heart slams against your ribs. This is the moment of truth. The border agents run the dogs around the tires. The dogs smell nothing but diesel and road grime. The trucks are pulled into the giant X-ray machines. The lead lining absorbs the radiation perfectly. The screens show nothing but empty commercial space and standard engine blocks. The agents wave them through. The radio crackles. "We are clear," the driver says. A wave of intoxicating power washes over you. You have done it. You have outsmarted the most heavily funded border security apparatus on the planet. You have become an absolute artist in your field, a Picasso of automotive crime. The boss smiles. He hands you a thick, heavy envelope. You are incredibly rich. You are untouchable. You tell yourself that you are just a mechanic, that you aren't hurting anyone, that you are just building machines. You rationalize the evil because the success feels too good. But that is exactly when things start to go wrong. Phase 4, the cracks. Truck number 4 is 50 miles from the border. It is noon. The desert sun is beating down on the asphalt, pushing the ambient temperature past 100 degrees. Beneath the hood, the heavy diesel engine is working overtime to pull the massive weight of the cargo up a long, steep incline. The exhaust manifold is glowing with heat. The insulation on the electrician's wire begins to melt. You are watching the green dot on the monitor. It starts to slow down. Then, it stops completely. It is parked on the shoulder of a major interstate, miles from the nearest town. You grab the radio. You break protocol. "Why are you stopped?" you demand. "The engine died," the driver responds, panic bleeding into his voice. "The whole electrical system just fried. Everything is dead." Your stomach drops into a bottomless abyss. You know exactly what that means. A total electrical failure means the hydraulic compartments cannot be opened. The cargo is trapped. But worse, the truck is sitting dead on a federal highway. It is a massive, highly visible target. Cartel logistics dictate that a stalled vehicle carrying product must be abandoned immediately to avoid capture. "We need to go, now," the co-driver yells in the background of the radio transmission. "Leave it," the boss orders, his voice suddenly cold. "Get picked up by the trail car, white the cabin." The driver grabs his bags, wipes the steering wheel, and jumps into the trailing security vehicle. They speed away, leaving $40 million of product sitting on the side of the highway. You exhale a shaky breath. You think it is over. You think you just lost one truck out of 10. The operation is bruised, but not broken. You are wrong. Because a short circuit doesn't just kill the engine. Phase 5, the collapse. 2 hours later, a highway patrol cruiser pulls up behind the abandoned truck. The officer runs the plates. They come back to a shell company. He walks up to the cab. It is locked and empty. He walks around the massive vehicle, looking for a reason why it was dumped. Here is what you didn't know about the electrician's mistake. When the wire melted against the exhaust manifold, it didn't just blow a fuse. It caused a massive power surge to arc through the entire secondary system before the battery died. The surge hit the electronic locks on the hydraulic compartments. The locks were supposed to fail-safe closed. Instead, the surge fried the locking pins. The heavy steel panels on the side of the truck are no longer secured. The highway patrol officer leans against the side panel to look under the chassis. The panel shifts. He pushes it. The heavy steel door swings open, revealing a perfectly engineered void packed floor to ceiling with tightly wrapped bricks of narcotics. The officer draws his weapon. He calls for backup. Within 30 minutes, the highway is swarming with federal agents. They don't just tow the truck. They dismantle it. They find the lead lining. They find the altered suspension. They find the exact, hyper-specific engineering signatures of your clandestine shop. The cartel's entire logistical playbook is suddenly sitting under the bright lights of a government forensics lab. The agents realize that if this truck looks like this, there are others. They immediately flag the shell company. They run the manifest. They trigger an emergency alert at every border crossing. Trucks 5, 6, 7, and 8 are already sitting in line at the checkpoint. They have nowhere to run. The border is sealed. Heavily armed tactical teams swarm the vehicles, dragging the drivers out through the windows. The dogs don't need to smell anything. The agents already know exactly where to drill. They pop the hydraulic locks. The biggest smuggling operation in history collapses in real time, broadcast on every news channel in the country. Phase 6, the unraveling. You are sitting in the dark in your beautiful, expensive house. The TV is on, muted, showing footage of your truck surrounded by police tape. The dual life you built has violently collided. Your wife asks you what is wrong. You tell her you are just sick. You check the satellite phone. It is dead silent. You know what silence means in this business. You know that when an operation of this magnitude fails, the cartel does not write off the loss. They clean house. The electrician is the first to go. He doesn't show up for work the next day. A week later, his family tells the neighbors he moved to the United States to find a better job. Nobody believes them. You know exactly where he is. He is in a shallow grave in the desert, paying the ultimate price for a melted wire. You start obsessively checking your car for a GPS tracker. You memorize the license plates of every vehicle that drives past your house. You sleep with a gun under your pillow, jumping at every shadow. You realize that your absolute, pristine technical excellence was the only thing keeping you alive. And now, that shield is gone. You are no longer the genius engineer. You are a massive liability. You know too many faces. You know too many locations. The headlights of two heavy SUVs sweep across your living room wall. The vehicles idle outside your gate. Men step out into the rain. They are not carrying tools. You built a $400 million empire of invisible logistics, and you destroyed your own life over a wire you didn't even cut.